Round 16 of Super Rugby is done. If you want to know what happened and have a little bit of a recap, check out this video. Welcome back to Skinnybru Rugby, guys. Over the weekend I hit 100 subs. I did a proper video where I thanked you and gave you my future plans. I'll link it up here. If you haven't watched it yet, thanks to everyone that has subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. You are the guys that has kept this channel going. This wasn't the best weekend for rugby in round 16. Well, there was good games, but prediction wise on Superbru and those things, not the best for us. Last week I got 7 out of 7 for my predictions. This week not that good. 4 out of 7. There were a lot of upsets and surprises. On Superbru, the link is down in the description below if you want to join. The winner of the round was Bean and the leader is still Spoon. I am catching up to you though, I am in second. Here's what happened this weekend. The first game messed everyone's Superbru up already. A 22-all draw between the Blues and the Bulls. It was not a great game for either team to watch. That would be reflected in the Dream Team, which is also at the end of this video, or you can just go find it on the channel. It reflected there as well that it wasn't a good game. None of the teams really played well. There was a lot of kicking. The Blues would kick themselves here. Their last conversion was they had a penalty in the 79th minute, which Plummer missed, and subsequently they had a draw. The Blues really need to invest in guys that just kick better at goal, because you could have seen this whole season, they don't have flyouts that kick really well. The Bulls, their captain was Woodendal for this weekend, with Vermeulen and Pollard out on injury. Pollard seems to be coming back for the next game against the Highlanders. The Bulls, they just kicked all their possession away in this game to try and get territory and put the Blues under pressure. But every time they had the possession, which they had 60% of the time, they got handling errors and just made stupid decisions when they try and get to the line. The only two standout players in the Bulls game for me was Van Staden and R.G. Snyman. The Blues, they were slightly better on the day, so they won't be happy with this draw. But at the end, they gave away too many penalties, and that's what happened. Up next, the Waratahs got a surprise victory over the Rebels by 20-15. I did not see this one coming. In the pool, only one person saw it coming. No one else predicted the Waratahs to win. On the whole Superbru community, only 17% of people predicted the Waratahs to win. And again, it was not a great game to watch. There was one big moment and that was about it. For the Rebels, Cooper, he had a great game. I think one of his best games this season, and he was just outshining Foley in that game. But they gave away silly penalties, the Rebels, and just gave all the points and possession to the Waratahs. The Rebels, one thing Cooper did wrong, or two things: he missed one conversion and missed one penalty. It was from difficult angles though. That was 5 points that they left. They could have gotten a draw with those points. The Rebels, they gave away a lot of possession to the Waratahs. They lost the ball 18 times to turnovers. The Waratahs, they are only 3 points behind the Rebels now in the Aussie Conference, and they could be a surprise inclusion into the playoffs if they continue like this. There was one moment in the game, like I said, the try from Adam Ashley Cooper, where the Waratahs just threw the ball around. They played a bit of a Fijian style of rugby, maybe 6 or 7 passes in that try. The Rebels, they could have gotten a penalty try. Maybe the officiating did decide that it was just a penalty and nothing more. On a pool that I have on the Facebook page, which is also in the description below, everyone so far has said that it should have been a yellow card and a penalty try. The Kirabetti was tackled with no arms, or just tackled like this and not holding on to him with both arms, and you could see that was actually a dangerous tackle. That should have probably been a penalty try, which would have gotten the Rebels the game at the end. But that's how the game played out. The Rebels should have been better and won the game anyway. Unsurprisingly, the Brumbies pummeled the Sunwolves. The Sunwolves going down 19-42 against the Brumbies. The only standouts in the Sunwolves team was Masirewa and Saumake. Saumake getting a try virtually from the kickoff in the game. Halftime score for the teams was 21-12 behind for the Sunwolves. And when that happened, the score looked a little bit better for them, and I thought maybe we have a game on our hands here. But at the end it didn't happen. The Sunwolves missed 16 tackles and gave away 12 penalties, and that was way too much. And with those missed tackles, the Brumbies beat 18 defenders in this game. The Brumbies, they are now 5 points clear of the Rebels in the Aussie Conference. Now they are still at the top. The hookers in the Brumbies team just always score. Fainga, who is their starting hooker, is one of the top scorers in the competition. The other hooker, which came from the bench, McInerney or something like that, he had a hat-trick in that game, which shows you they are just very dangerous with their mauls. Then we head over to one of the best games we've seen in a long time in Super Rugby. The Chiefs surprising all of us with a 40-27 victory over the Crusaders. They played the game in Suva in Fiji. You guys just know how to turn up for a game. It looked really entertaining to be part of that crowd. The Chiefs, they are now in the 3rd spot in the New Zealand Conference. They might have a slim chance of making the playoffs. Probably a little too late, but maybe they get it right. The game for the Chiefs in the first 30 minutes was just riddled with errors. After the first 30 minutes, the Crusaders had a lead of 20-0, and I just thought, well, it's game over. They aren't going to be able to fight back from this one. If the Crusaders did win this game, they would have sealed the #1 spot in the Super Rugby for sure, but they didn't. But they still just need 2 points from next week's game if they want to clinch the top spot. The next game is against the Rebels. They will try and get the win, but it is going to be very difficult for them. And then after that, the Crusaders are on a bye, so they have only 1 game to clinch that top spot for them. The Hurricanes, if they win 2 games and get a bonus point victory as well, then they could pass the Crusaders, but I don't think the odds of that are high to happen. After all those errors from the Chiefs in the first 30 minutes, they just hit back with a better performance, and they scored 3 tries before the end of the half to make the score 20-19 at halftime, the Chiefs just being down by 1 point. After halftime, the Crusaders looked to be fighting back once again. They scored a try, making the score 27-19, but then from there it was all Chiefs, and it was just a great performance from them, and they won the game at the end by 40-27. Guys that really stood out for the Chiefs in this game was Stevenson, Alemalo, Anton Leonard-Brown, Weber and Paretti. He also did really well. The Jaguares continued their rumble for the SA title, beating the Reds 34-23. The Reds, once again, they had a lot of errors and gave away a lot of penalties. Moving Hegarty to the fullback in the start of the season, I said they should do that, but at the end of the season it was not a smart move to move him from 10 to 15, because that just messed up their whole attacking and defensive systems. You could see they did not have a nice flow to the game, having a new guy on the number 10. The Reds also, they kicked a lot of ball to the back 3 of the Jaguares, which is very dangerous. You can't be kicking balls just to them and letting them attack you. The Jaguares are very dangerous when the other team are scrambling. Possession was almost 50-50. The Reds had 48% of possession, which is pretty even. But what they did do wrong is they conceded 18 turnovers to the Jaguares. Guys that were very important for the Jaguares for those turnovers. Creevy, he did well again. The Jaguares are now 6 points ahead of the second placed Lions in the SA Conference. The Jaguares weren't quite at their best for this game, though. They had a lot of errors. When the substitutions came on early in the second half, the game looked a lot better with guys like Kremer standing up in that game. Santiago Carreras and Felipe Escura, they did well, both of them scoring their first tries in Super Rugby. It was really great to see them running with the ball, especially Carreras was very dangerous. The thing that will bother the Jaguares, they missed 25 tackles in that game. They can't afford to do something like that against the Crusaders if they want to go to the playoffs. The next one was, as SA Rugby said, a Barrett show. The Hurricanes beating the Sharks 30-17. The game was full of scuffles for both teams. Both of them fought a little bit, pushing and shoving, and a lot of talk between the scrum halves, especially Perenaro. That guy, he knows how to irritate the other team into giving away silly penalties. The Hurricanes, they now have a slim chance of getting the top spot in New Zealand, like I said, if they have 2 bonus point victories, with the Crusaders only having 1 game left against the Rebels. Bowden Barrett, he set up 2 tries for the Hurricanes in this game, and he kicked a bunch of penalties. The Hurricanes weren't their usual selves where they rather go for a line out. They actually went for a goal kick, which showed you they were wary of the Sharks in the game. But at the end, they should thank themselves for doing the kicking over the penalties. That was the difference in the end of the game. The Sharks find themselves now in 4th place in the South African Conference, and they are in danger of losing a playoff spot. The Sharks are playing the Jaguares in Argentina and the Stormers in Cape Town next, and they could continue losing, like I said in the Who Will Win the South African Conference video, which I will link up here. The Sharks' back 3 looked very dangerous, even though the team had little ball. The Sharks did turn down something like 6 penalties, which they could have taken to the polls, so they will kick themselves for not taking those opportunities. The Hurricanes really stopped the Sharks' maul in its tracks every time they tried to have a maul in that game. Laumapai, he was at his best again with Bowden Barrett back in the team, and the Sharks just could not handle him on attack. The next game was the Lions beating the Stormers 41-22. The Stormers looked like how they looked in their first game this season against the Bulls, where they got absolutely demolished. The Stormers really missed guys like Kolisi, Pieter-Steph du Toit, Mbunambi or Ntubeni, and they had added injuries to their injury list in this game. Visa got injured, and the biggest one of all, Eben Etzebeth, he might have broken his hand as they have reported, but they haven't given a definite answer yet, so that would be a scare for the Springboks as well with him being out. The Lions capitalized on a very poor defense of the Stormers. The Stormers missed a whopping 29 tackles in this game, and with that they will never have won. It was completely different to how they have played in recent weeks with a scramble defense. It just did not look right with the big tacklers like Pieter-Steph du Toit and Kolisi not being there. The Lions didn't have Yankees this week, but Reynolds, who came in as his replacement, really had a good game. Guys that really stood out for the Lions, Quagga Smith and Marks, together they got 22 turnovers for the Lions in this game. Probably not just them, but that's the stats for the Lions, 22 turnovers. The Lions are now in 2nd in the South African pool. What they really did well in this game was exploiting the wider channels of the Stormers, with Deante also getting a try from getting into the wider channels. The next game for the Lions is the Hurricanes who need a bonus point if they want to try and beat the Crusaders at the top, and then the Bulls at Loftus. So it could be tough for them. The next games for the Stormers, they're playing the Sunwolves in Cape Town and then the Sharks in Cape Town. So they could still make a playoff position. That's it for the week, guys. If you want to join the pools or check out the Facebook page, it is down in the description below. If you want to check out any other videos, it is here to my right. Yet again, thanks for the 100 subscribers. I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.